Nerdbots.
2022 has been one of the best years in horror in regards to the quality of films being released. Box office wise, the horror genre is just below the comedy genre in total gross and tickets sold. In fact, if you were to subtract comic book movies and that one blockbuster film that came out from the action genre, horror would not be far behind that genre. So what better way to cap off the year than with some holiday horror? And in this year, we are getting two new killer Santa Claus movies in Violent Night and Christmas Bloody Christmas. Unless you consider Christmas Carol to be a part of the horror genre like I do, we did not see our first Christmas horror story told in a movie until 1972's Tales from the Crypt movie, where Joanne kills her husband Richard on Christmas Eve, and as she prepares to hide his body, she hears a radio announcement of the homicidal maniac dressed in a Santa suit who is on the loose, who she then sees lurking outside her door. 8 months later, Silent Night, Bloody Night then released to theaters. Since then, we have seen over 100 Christmas-themed horror movies, with a little over 25 of them featuring a killer Santa Claus. And if you can't get enough of the big fat guy slaying people on his naughty list, here are 5 of the best killer Santa Claus movies that you may never have,
or probably,
heard of.
Number 5. Silent Night. A loose remake of 1984's Silent Night, Deadly Night is about a mysterious man that dresses in a Santa Claus suit, complete with a mask, and is picking off citizens on Christmas Eve in a small Midwestern town while managing to evade a manhunt for him by a new recruit and the former chief of police's daughter, Aubrey Brattamore, who is struggling with the recent loss of her husband while trying to fill her father's shoes and make him proud.
Not only is Silent Night a slasher film, but it features some unlikely people that you would expect to be in this film. Malcolm McDowell.
And Sheriff Cooper.
And he plays that dick that we've seen in Halloween 2. To perfection. I think he enjoys that role.
I think so too.
Jamie King is
Aubrey Brattamore. And then you have Donald Logue as Santa Jim. And he's just as crass as ever.
This film is chock full of kills. So if you like slasher movies and you want to see Santa Claus going off, this is the one for you because it has 17 kills in it. Flamethrowers, wood chippers, strangling people by Christmas lights.
Oh my.
It's got everything.
Yeah.
And it's even got some of the best quotes like this.
Oh, big mistake. Bringing a flamethrower to a gunfight.
Or this.
Fuck you, fuck Christmas, and fuck your plastic face!
Number 4.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Before leaving and ending their visit with Billy's grandfather at the nursing home, his grandfather awakens from a catatonic state to warn him that Santa Claus punishes those who are naughty. Later on, while on their way home, his parents come across a man wearing a Santa suit whose car is broken down. When they stop to help them, the man pulls them from their cars and kills both of Billy's parents, who runs off and watches from behind some bushes across the road. 10 years later, Billy is forced to play Santa Claus at the store that he works at, and when he encounters a co-worker trying to rape a woman, it triggers the horrors of his childhood to manifest into him punishing all that are naughty. This one is definitely, hands down, probably the most iconic killer Santa Claus movie ever made. I had not seen this movie until my later years, possibly when I was a young adult, but I knew of the movie, the classic poster. I always wanted to see an evil Santa Claus because I've seen the imagery related to this movie.
And that's what everyone knows. I mean, this movie came out when we were kids, but I certainly remember seeing, you know, posters of it at like the video store, and it was not something that I watched. I kind of shied away from the whole like killer Santa Claus thing because that's just fucked up. Number 3. Christmas Evil. Toymaker Harry, who is mentally scarred from his childhood after learning that Santa Claus is not real, spoiler, still revels in the Christmas spirit. But when he is belittled and taken advantage of at work, he suffers a mental breakdown and goes on a Yuletide killing spree.
Christmas Evil and our next 2 films easily can be a number 1. And it's probably number 1 on people's list. It's probably one of the best Christmas horror movies that are out there.
But this guy is just batshit crazy. Like, he's creepy.
Harry, this is full-fledged serial killer, not slasher, serial killer mentality. So this is something that you would see in like Maniac or some other films, because you see a psychotic break in this character during the film.
And then they show flashbacks of like what happened. And in all honesty, I mean, the guy was obviously just crazy to begin with, because what actually happened when he found out that there was no Santa was not that traumatizing. So the fact that it traumatized him means that there was something a little off with him to begin with. Number 2.
Santa's Sleigh, starring Bill Goldberg as Santa Claus. After a millennium of spreading Christmas cheer after losing a bet with an angel, Santa Claus reverts back to his demonic self after fulfilling the terms of his bet and goes on a murdering spree. I avoided this movie
because it was Goldberg.
Yes, up into this year. And now I am kicking myself in the pants for having waited this long to watch it, because this movie is a horror comedy and it is just pure gold.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting.
The opening scene features some familiar faces like Chris Kattan, Fran Drescher, James Caan,
Rebecca Gayheart.
The opening scene is what had me hooked, because I knew I was in for a fun ride.
Who knew that Bill Goldberg could be evil?
And if you're a horror fan, there are so many inside jokes in this movie, like the Necronomicon.
Yeah, yeah.
So you'll definitely want to look out for those items as well. Now, instead of reindeer, he has a hell deer, and the hell deer is a giant buffalo. This movie goes everywhere, even to strip clubs.
Yeah, well,
strippers are naughty too.
And apparently so is the pastor. Number 1. A Christmas Horror Story is a horror anthology where evil that descends on the town of Bailey Downs and the North Pole, where suddenly an evil is unleashed, plaguing the town with malevolent spirits, and Krampus, and the North Pole with an elf zombie invasion.
Terrifier fans, if you have seen All Hallows Eve, this is your Christmas anthology. Doesn't feature Art the Clown, but the stories are just as good. And they sort of intertwine towards the end. This is the more horror-esque of the groupings. So, like I said, all our top 3 all could be number 1s here. So you have your serial killer movie, you have your horror comedy, and then you have your true horror film here with your gore and your zombies and your evil spirits. Everything's just thrown in here, and it works so damn well.
Yeah, and then you have William Shatner as DJ Dan.
As he is playing Christmas music, he is getting drunk.
Yes.
The individual stories, we have a school with a spirit in the basement that some kids go to investigate. We have a Krampus story.
Yes.
And then we have the zombie invasion in the North Pole.
Yes, and then they all kind of intertwine at the end.
A Christmas Horror Story is a perfect horror movie for the season. So there is 5 Killer Santa Claus movies. These are probably what we think is the best of the bunch. Do you agree with the list? And then we are essentially celebrating the debut of 2 new Santas into this genre. And that is Violent Night and then Christmas, Bloody Christmas on Shudder. Are you going to be checking those 2 out? Let us know. And also, if you can't get enough of killer Santa Clauses, on December 7th at your local comic book store or online if you buy your comics that way, we are getting the Silent Night, Deadly Night continuation in comic book form. One of the covers is drawn by Nerdbox's friend, who's been a guest on Down at Gene's Coffee House of Horror, and that is Buzz Hassan. So definitely go and pick up that. His artwork is amazing.
Yeah.
But they're also running a Kickstarter right now too, so that information will be in the description, so you can actually go out and buy some exclusive limited edition covers and artwork from the artist.
Yeah. Definitely check it out. He is amazing, super talented.
Now it is the quest for 5,000 subscribers, and you can help us get there by
Liking, subscribing, and sharing.
Yes, we have crossed over into the valley of 2,000 subscribers, and we thank you for helping us get there. So let's do that push and try to get to that 5,000 before we hit our 2-year anniversary. And when we hit 5,000 subscribers, you get a chance to win this box of Strawberries and Scream cereal signed by Matthew Lillard and David Arquette. And you can do that by all the things that she said, including leaving comments in these videos, because a comment and a like goes a long way. It only takes about 5 seconds. So you can just drop a comment and say, hi, I thought your pick sucked. Or you can say, hi, I thought they were good. And that's it. But drop that like. That helps to expand the audience that gets to see these. Yeah. So until the next Pop 5.
You're going to listen to one of my favorite songs. So here's to the season. Oh, Norman. Susan, did you see that? You know who saw that? Jesus saw that. And his dad, he saw that